Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today, we're going to be discussing the most prominent mentors in Harry Potter's life in order of most influential and greatest importance. Got any guesses on who makes this list? I'm sure you do. Right, well, let's get to it then. Number 5, Professor Minerva McGonagall. As far as mentors go, I would say that McGonagall was the least influential in Harry's life. In fact, I dare say some may disagree that she was a mentor to him at all. However, I would argue that by merely being the head of Gryffindor House during Harry's time at Hogwarts, she was in a position of mentorship for just about any student who had been sorted there, which of course included Mr. Potter. What's more, for Harry in particular, she was, of course, present the night Lily and James Potter were murdered, helping decide where the newly orphaned infant Harry should be sent. You may recall that she was against Dumbledore's decision to place Harry with the Dursley family, and argued that he should remain with the wizarding kind instead. Now, this may not necessarily make McGonagall a mentor, as it's true that Harry was no more than a year old at the time and did not grow up to remember these events. But it would have remained a vivid memory for Minerva, perhaps influencing her choices to support Harry more than the average student when he inevitably ended up attending Hogwarts. I think a perfect example of this was when Professor McGonagall discovered Harry flying a broomstick around school property without permission, and instead of punishing him, she recruited him as Gryffindor's new seeker for the house Quidditch team. Put quite simply, without Minerva's interference and influence, Harry may never have tried out for the Quidditch team, or at the very least, not in his first year at school. This would have altered a great deal for Harry and his Hogwarts experience, for it was on the Quidditch pitch that we saw Harry develop more confidence. It's also where he got to know several of his fellow Gryffindors, exposing him to more friendships than he may have had if he'd just kept to himself. Finally, a golden snitch, the small, charmed ball that Seekers are tasked with catching during a Quidditch match, played an incredibly important role in hiding and revealing one of the Deathly Hallows, the Resurrection Stone, to Harry in the last installment of the series. For these reasons, Minerva McGonagall is my pick for Harry's 5th most important mentor. Number 4, Professor Severus Snape. While Severus Snape may have been at odds with Harry for the majority of the boy's time at Hogwarts, I think it's pretty hard to deny that he provided Harry with vital instruction on at least a couple subjects. To start with, Snape was the professor who attempted to teach Harry occlumency, the magical skill of being able to close one's mind to another witch or wizard's attempt to perform legilimency. True, these lessons were nothing short of hostile and, according to Dumbledore, a fiasco. However, simply by trying to teach Harry this difficult skill, he was mentoring the boy's development of magic, as these sessions were private, individual lessons created specifically for Harry to help him learn how to close his mind to Voldemort's thoughts and influence. In addition to the occlumency lessons in The Half-Blood Prince, Harry also learned a great deal from Snape's old potions textbook, which contained all of Severus's notes transcribed in the columns. Again, I suppose you could argue that this was not an act of mentorship, as it was likely a coincidence that Harry ended up with this particular second-hand book, and it may well have been just that. But there was a moment between Harry and Snape when Severus questions Harry about the textbook, saying, "This is your copy of Advanced Potion Making, is it, Potter?" "Yes," said Harry, still breathing hard. "You're quite sure of that, are you, Potter?" "Yes," said Harry, with a touch more defiance. Snape clearly recognized the book as his, as he revealed later in The Half-Blood Prince, and yet he didn't expose Harry for pretty much cheating his way through potions, meaning that he knew his notes were helping Harry succeed in this subject. Considering this mentor-mentee arrangement was not particularly favorable for either Snape or Harry, with Severus finding Harry arrogant like his father, the wizard who had bullied him in school and inevitably married the witch he loved, and Harry believing Snape to be inherently evil and jealous of his father, I think it's safe to call this a begrudged mentorship. But even though neither wizard was especially fond of teaching or learning from the other, Harry did in fact learn a great deal from Snape, putting him at number 4 on today's list. After all, we don't always have to like our mentors, do we? Number 3. Rubeus Hagrid. Hagrid may not have been a mentor to Harry in an academic way, since he himself was expelled before he could graduate from Hogwarts. However, Rubeus was, without a doubt, one of the most positive figures in Harry's life. After all, Hagrid was the one who came for Harry after he'd been accepted to Hogwarts. Despite the Dursleys refusing to allow Harry to attend, Hagrid simply wouldn't take no for an answer, and showed great strength of character in helping Harry leave for school. He was also the first person to ever give Harry a birthday cake, at least that Harry could remember. And Hagrid's kindness, compassion, and protective instincts towards Harry never faltered from there. He was the first person to tell Harry who he really was, and how his parents had died. He introduced Harry to Diagon Alley and the wizarding world as a whole. Hagrid even gave Harry his beloved owl, Hedwig, as a gift. Throughout Harry's time at Hogwarts, he could always count on Hagrid, visiting his cabin on the school grounds to have little chats and ask for advice. Even when Hagrid was meant to keep information from Harry, or didn't know the answer to something, he was always kind and cared a great deal for our dear boy. And so, by setting such a great example for Harry, Hagrid is my pick for Harry's third most important mentor. Number 2. Sirius Black. Sirius Black's role as one of Harry's most influential mentors is indisputable. As James Potter's best friend, who sacrificed his freedom to confront Peter Pettigrew, the wizard who betrayed Harry's parents to Lord Voldemort, his love for the Potter family was quite obvious. And his interest in becoming Harry's guardian and mentor was evident almost immediately once he revealed his true intentions in The Prisoner of Azkaban. From Harry's perspective, Sirius was the guardian he had always wanted. Despite his criminal record, which, of course, was not a reflection of true events, he was a substantial improvement from the Dursleys, who verbally attacked him and never wished to discuss his parents. Sirius, on the other hand, cared deeply for Harry instantly and had a direct connection to his parents, whom he would speak freely about. To Harry, Sirius represented more than a mentor. He was the father he had never had. Before his death, Sirius would check in on Harry through letters in the magical fireplaces within Hogwarts. He even risked his freedom to return to England and hide out in a cave near the school to ensure Harry's safety. As a wizard ready to risk everything to care for Harry, Sirius is clearly near the top of the list of the most important mentors in Harry's life. Number 1. Albus Dumbledore. An ever-present and incredibly powerful magical figure throughout the entire Harry Potter series, Dumbledore is my number 1 pick as Harry's most influential and impactful mentor. Albus starts off his relationship with Harry in the Philosopher's Stone, dropping words of wisdom on him after his first encounter with the Dark Lord, such as, "It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends." From there, Dumbledore continues to guide and support Harry as the two build a relationship based on Albus's extensive wisdom, Harry's willingness to learn, and Dumbledore's knowledge that Harry is the wizarding world's only hope to defeat Voldemort. Although Dumbledore was, without a doubt, a huge influence in Harry's life, he certainly was not the easiest mentor to rely on. Often nowhere to be found and showing up at times during inconvenient moments, like when Harry was about to ask a beautiful muggle on a date, he was certainly a frustrating mentor, to say the least. But for every half-truth and partial revelation he provided Harry with, Dumbledore also taught the boy a lot of things. He revealed past events through the Pensieve, a magical device used to store and review memories, and took Harry with him on a mission to destroy a Horcrux, which harbored part of Voldemort's soul. He even mentored Harry in the afterlife, helping him sort through the events that led Harry to King's Cross Station and what he should do from there. Do I believe that Dumbledore should have been more honest with Harry about certain things? Yes, of course. But does that impact the fact that he was Harry's longest-standing, most influential mentor? No, I don't believe it does. And with that, we have come to the end of another video. What do you think? Did I miss any obvious mentors? Do you agree with how I've ranked these 5? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And, as always, If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'm not worried, Harry. I'm with you.